Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about a new percolation brewer called the Hoop. This is made by Ceado. I got it over the Christmas holiday and I've been experimenting with it ever since. It's a really interesting brewer and very different from other types of brewers I've seen in the past. It comes with a little bit of lid, which is also a drip tray that comes with it. And then the brewer itself, here are the filters that come with the brewer. The brewer itself comes in two pieces. So you have a center piece here where the coffee grounds go. It unscrews out of the center, and then you have the outer piece, which is called the hoop, so to speak. The filters go into the bottom of the hoop, and then what you do is you screw the center cone into this, and then you pour water around the outer ring as you brew the coffee. Now the way this thing works is this centerpiece, which is where the grounds go. The filter goes in the bottom, and then you have these holes that are calibrated in size to basically set the rate at which water flows into the coffee bed. And what that does is, theoretically speaking, is it reduces the chances of you getting channeling when brewing coffee, which is a big plus. Channeling leads to astringency. So theoretically, you should get a really good cup of coffee. Now, having experimented with this and compared it with other types of percolation brewers, what I did find was that you have to go slightly finer on the grind for this particular brewer, mainly because the size of the brew chamber is fairly small and water can percolate through much quicker than it would necessarily with for example, a V60 brewer. So I found that even though this calibrates the rate of water to the grounds, it goes fairly quick, and going with a slightly finer grind than medium fine results in the best cup in most cases. Okay, so the way this works, let's go ahead and try and brew up a batch of coffee. We'll pull a filter out of the bag. Okay, these are really thin filters. They're very similar to the filters that you find in the AeroPress brewer. They're not quite the same size though, so they're not interchangeable. Okay, so put the filter into the bottom. Then you just screw this in nice and tight, righty-tighty, okay? And you're ready to brew, okay? So what we'll do is, to make sure we get the right amount of coffee into this, I put this on the scale, zero out the scale, and then I'll put my coffee grounds in. Today we're gonna brew up some Vulcan Velvet from Guatemala. It's a decaf coffee, just because I don't want to overstimulate myself. And let's go ahead and dose this up. And it looks like exactly 10 grams. Okay, so we got 10 grams of coffee. So 10 grams per 150 milliliters. So we're gonna go ahead and brew 150 milliliters of coffee. But before we do that, I want to show you something interesting. You'll see that this brewer has kind of a cavity that it sits on top of the cup. And it presents a particular challenge in that, let's say you have a brewer like this with a handle. What happens is it won't sit quite flat on the brewer. But if you get a coffee cup that has the handle further down, you see that it sits nice and flat. Okay? So kind of have to be mindful of the brewer or what you're going to dose it into. So I'm just going to go ahead and use a glass so you can kind of see it, the rate at which it brews. I'll go ahead and tear that out. And then, since we did 10 grams of coffee, we're going to do 150 milliliters or 150 grams of coffee. And then the water goes in this outer ring. And I'll go ahead and time it. We'll see how long it takes. Should be fairly quick with 150 milliliters. There we go, 150 milliliters. And as you can see, it brews up fairly quick. And this was with a medium fine grind. This is a medium roast level for this Vulcan Velvet decaf. And you can see it's fairly bold looking cup. It'll take about 2 minutes, so when it gets done, we'll come right back. Okay, it's been about 2.5 minutes and it's done. So let's go ahead and see what this, how much you got out of a cup. And we got about 125 milliliters out of a dosing of 150. So, just to give it a taste. Oh, wow. Actually, it's very sweet. Very good. I don't taste any bitterness or sourness. Excellent cup of coffee. Yes, and I don't taste any astringency whatsoever. So I think the answer to the Hoop Brewers is actually an excellent brewer. So a couple of things to be mindful of with this particular brewer is it doesn't travel as well as, say, a AeroPress, in that it leaves a little bit of a mess on the inside that you've got to clean out when you're done. It doesn't just pop out like an AeroPress might. Other things to be mindful of is that you've got to go slightly finer and you've got to kind of calibrate your grind by taste. I found that for most of the medium roast coffees that we sell, going slightly finer than medium fine, which you would use for a automatic brewer, works best for this. So slightly finer than what you would do for an automatic brewer. And then you can safely do up to 2 servings with this particular brewer. So one nice thing is you can do 1 or 2 servings. I wouldn't try to go past 2 servings though, which you might likely overfill the outer hoop. So very good brewer. I highly recommend it. So there you have it. It's the Hoop Brewer from Ceado. Thanks a lot.